Welcome, happy wisdom soup, you guys. It's great to see all of you joining. Oh, and here's Beth. Yay. And Edie, hi, how's it going? And Madeline, hello. Oh, yay, Adrian's here. Hi, Adrian. So many, you guys, we have people
Again.
from all over the place here. This is awesome. There's Randy and Sandy. You guys should be closer together because you rhyme. Here we go. Eve, hello. Fantastic. All right, let's get everybody in, a couple more. So let's make sure everyone's joining in. We've got a good group tonight. And hold on just a sec here. And Michael has volunteered. Hey, Peter, great to see you. Mary, hi. Michael has volunteered to be my co-host tonight to help because the format we can do today. Hey, Amina, good middle of the night to you. And so welcome to Wisdom Soup. So for those of you who are new to Wisdom Soup, this is a community that we started about, let's see, it's been over 3 years. So is it been almost 4 years now? Oh my gosh, time flies. 3.5+ years ago, we started this community. And it was, the idea was that as I was going through my own awakening, I needed to find my peeps, right? I needed to find people that were on the path that I could relate to. And so I just, stuck my flag in the ground to see who would show up. I put a thing on Meetup, and I had myself as sort of the first like sacrificial lamb speaker. And luckily, like amazing people showed up, and we've been doing it every month since then. And it's gathered an incredible group of people, and we've covered all kinds of topics, because for me it's like my that's sort of my true north when it comes to figuring out what to talk about in Wisdom Soup has been like, what do I think is interesting? Like what sounds fun? So we've done everything from dream interpretation with Michael. We've done dowsing, we've done like quantum field stuff, past life regressions. I mean, you name it, we've done it. If it sounds like fun and if it's super woo, we fairies and angels, and if it's woo, we go there. Is the rule. That's the rule. So but it's been really fun, and it's been, not only has it been really fun, the learning has been super fun, but also I know that Wisdom Soup has been super important, a place where people have found community, and they have found other people that have been instrumental on their path. So and the kind of thing where people would show up and find the healer that's able to help them, get over, major health concerns, or connections happening where people, go to coffee and find friendship and end up being partners and working together. And lots of collaboration comes from this group. So anyways, and we all end up, enjoying each other's services as well. Here's, I see Jim just joined, and lots of you have had sessions with Jim. He's an amazing palmist. So in any case, but that's Wisdom Soup, and it's been a community that I'm super grateful for. And we started it here, and I am in Bellevue, Washington. So that was where I first started it. And it was, the people, like I said, amazing people showed up from the local area. And then Michael helped me to put it online. So we started streaming it online, and we started connecting with more and more people at a distance. And that was, how incredibly fortuitous, because then COVID hit, and we were able to take the whole thing online. So now, like, there is no geographic boundary to this, is that we are all connected from all over the place. And I got to tell you that the people who come to Wisdom Soup are, you guys are amazing practitioners. You are light workers, you are healers. Some of you may have been on the path for a long time. Some of you are newer to the path, but that doesn't mean that you're a new soul. Right? It's like the people who come to this group, who are drawn to the energy of this group, are people who have chosen to come here, who have chosen to be here at this time for this super important phase of our evolution. So anyways, if you notice the people who are with us tonight, this is an amazing group of people. And you can feel the energy of this group. It's a wonderful group. So we do this every month, and we frequently we have all different types of speakers. This month, this is an interesting time that we're heading into. So those of you that know me, I'm Ann Tucker, and I'm the founder of this group. I'm also a business coach and a channel, a trance channel from the angelic realm. And when I started trance channeling, I started receiving, it was fairly early on as I was trance channeling, I started receiving messages about some things at the time that were really upsetting to me, about things that were coming. And lots of you guys already know all about this. But one of the first things of this nature that came through was a message about an earth rift. And it was all about this massive event. And I have the channelings here with you, and I'll share them with you. So for those of you who haven't heard them, if you just want to refresh your memory, and Michael, maybe I'll make you a co-host, so maybe you could keep an eye as I'm going, if in case anybody else needs to be let in, if you wouldn't mind letting them in.
Only if I like them.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But yeah, so anyways, this earth rift, and but of course, when we hear that there's going to be a major disaster, the first thing we want to know is like, what's it going to be like, where's it going to happen, and when's it going to happen? And timing is a very tricky thing, because we experience time here, and on the spirit world, they don't experience time. And after asking and sorting through this stuff, they did actually give me a window of time. And they said that this earth rift was going to happen in the period of your twofold remembrance. It was a specific wording, was the period of your twofold remembrance. And at the time I channeled that message, my son was with me. He was the one, because I dictate, and I usually dictate myself, but he was sitting with me that day. So he was writing as I was speaking. And he interpreted that to mean, because he's got a very global focus. So he's like, okay, internationally, Remembrance Day is what we call Veterans Day. They call Remembrance Day. So he thought twofold Remembrance Day must mean Veterans Day, because it's twofold. It is the World War I, and it's also the veterans. So he thought that's got to be it. So, but they said the period of your twofold Remembrance Day. Well, it could also mean the period between Veterans Day and Thanksgiving, which is also a day of remembrance. Could also mean that between Veterans Day and Christmas. So it's still vague. It's still a little bit vague. But the interesting thing is that I do know that we have entered the period. So basically, the events are unfolding. It hasn't happened yet, unless something happened and nobody told me. But but it hasn't happened yet. But it is still it's still happening. It's still going to happen. And I'm saying that, like, understand everything is in this current place of possibility. This is still likely to happen. I hesitate to ever say this is absolutely going to happen, because we are dealing with the world of spirit, and there's different timelines, and there's different dimensions, and there's all these things. But in terms of the information that I'm getting, the angels are still saying that this is going to happen. And other people that I know that are also tuned into this are saying the same thing. And that, in fact, that we've entered this period of possibility, and that events are already beginning to unfold. That the way they described it is that there are fissures currently. So, but that is not yet seen or discovered. So I personally think that it's going to happen sometime in the month of November. And the reason for that is that one of the early things that I got was, I saw a fist coming down in the month of November, coming down and hitting a surface, and all of the things on the surface flying up into the air and raining back down again. And it was a visual, and I normally do, but I used to do all of my channeling clairvoyantly with metaphor. So this came through as a metaphor. But the thing that blew my mind is I was listening to this. He's a born again Christian. He's a pastor, but he's been having a bunch of prophetic dreams. And April from our group sent me one of his prophetic dreams, and I was listening to it. And what do you know? He says he had a dream in which he saw a calendar, and it said November. And then he saw a fist coming down, and it hit the calendar, and all the numbers flew up and rained back down. And it was literally the exact same vision that I got, minus the calendar. I didn't get the calendar, but I knew it was November, because that was the frame of reference. So that kind of blew my mind. But in any case, that, among other reasons, is one of the reasons I think November is the month that this is going to occur. So anyways, So what I thought would be helpful for tonight is I was going to share with you a little bit of the few more messages. I'll review the original messages that I got about this event that's coming, as well as a little bit more that I recently channeled yesterday. And then I thought I would open it up for Q&A. So I'll go into trance. And if you guys have questions, if you want to talk about this with the angels, that's what we'll do. So Michael's going to help. So if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, questions you want to talk about with the angels that are pertinent to this specifically. So we won't do personal questions today. We'll just keep it to questions about the ascension or about the events that are coming or anything that you think would be of service to the group. Then just put them in the chat, and then Michael will help me because I'm going to try and stay in trance so I don't have to come in and out to read the questions. Does that make sense? So please don't be shy. No question is a bad question. They're all good questions. It was really funny because we were talking in advance. We're like, well, maybe we should come up with a few questions to start with. And we're like, we can't think of any questions. So we're grateful for the question. So ask anything. Like you could ask like, what flavor is Tang? And I'd be like, okay, that works. All right. So here is the original message that I got. And if you could just put yourself back with me many months ago when here I am channeling messages of love and happiness and rainbows and puppies. And then all of a sudden they start talking about this. And imagine you've got your pen and you're writing away and you start hearing this come out of your pen and you're like, that was the feeling. That was the experience of channeling this message. And it was definitely made me wonder, like, what did I eat today? So here's the original message. They said, this was back on June 28th is when I first got this. We are here waiting for you. Thank you for being with us. We are desperate to share what we believe will impact all on Earth very soon. It must be opened and discussed to be revealed so that many can be saved from harm. It will be another experience of catastrophic proportions. It will have the opportunity to reveal an inner side to the chambers within the earth. It will open before you. It will be another thing that upsets the economic stability in this time. It will happen when the earth is opened. Economic activity will cease. There will be a disaster, yes, a type that isn't tracked. It was seen as a gap, opening, rift, right down the middle, separation, opening in the crust. It made both sides crumble. Much devastation. This will occur when it reaches breaking point in the earth tension. It can happen. It happens near Indian line, near ocean. Rumbles cause disruption, then crack, then opening, and all unfolds. It happens to many. It will appear as if the earth is hollow and they will fall in. It will be massive, much bigger than you are imagining. It could have a devastating effect on the world because when it occurs, it leaks gas that impacts the air. It becomes hard to breathe. Many die. It opens. Share it openly. It can be helpful. It becomes a problem for many because there are repercussions. So this was the first channeled message. And I sat on that for 2 months because I thought, what the heck do I do with that? Right? Like it's a very heavy message. There was a lot of urgency to it. The angel that delivered this message to me was not my usual angels. And in fact, they introduced me to this angel. So they vetted the angel. So they sort of, I could see them. That my angels were here, and then the other angel came in and he was shaped the same, this sort of columnar shape that my angels have, but a slightly different color and a different vibration than my angels had. But they said, yeah, this is a person you want to speak to. And it was really funny. Before I could share that message, I actually went back to the angels and I said, look, guys, I can't just run around saying this kind of stuff. And you guys have to give me a strategy here for how to share this. Like, let me talk to an angel who's lived on earth, who knows humans. Let me talk to somebody who knows what it's like to be human, because the last thing we want to do is make everybody fearful, And that's something I think really important that I want to share about what I think the purpose of these messages are. And there is more to this, and I will share more, but I think super important to understand. I think that one of the big purposes is, yes, they say like share this because people don't know and it could impact their behavior, which could impact their ability to come out of this to survive, or in cases where people are not so immediate to be in that kind of danger, where people can be, safe and comfortable and not fearful. But I think the reason for sharing it is just that this group we are the light workers, and we are supposed to be here to help people. And if this caught us by surprise, we would be flat-footed, we'd be stunned and in grief. And I can tell you that as I've been processing these messages myself, I have been going through waves of grief. And I have been able, because of the fact that I got these messages early, I've been able to work through that and to feel into it, and to get to a place where now I'm really able to focus on the beauty of what we're headed into. I'm able to really look ahead and to feel and be excited for what's on the other side. And that's where we need to be. And we can only do that if we have this warning, right? Was that we need to have this information so that we can be equipped, and so that we can be prepared, so that we're healthy, that we're well, that we are in the right state of mind, that we are, that we have dealt with our grief, and that we're focused on the good things that we're bringing in, and we're ready to hold that, ready to hold the vibration of what's to come, and to help land that on the earth. And so that's why I believe we've been getting these messages, is so that we could do our part. And that's a big part. A big part of our job as light workers is to just be, is to be the light. And this is how we can be the light in this time, is by not being in shock, and by not being as much in grief if something like this happens, right? If this occurs. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, okay. So you want to hear the rest of what came in? So for those of you who would like the refresher, here's the rest of what we got. The earthquake happened. So this is, I channeled again. So because I was so unsure about this type of message and what to do with it, I kept channeling on it over the next several weeks just to get more background and more understanding. And, so here's what else they said. They said the earthquake happens to erupt the gas, which flies through the air to be breathed by many, infects, few remain who breathe the poison. It will be potent. It can disperse widely up above in the clouds overhead, jet stream, where it passes freely and lands where the air is heavy. It will be devastating because none know. Then again, on July 18th, we are present encounter. You wish to ask, oh, hold on just a second. Let me get, here we are. So just to go to where they start talking about this. Let's see, difficult to survive. It will not be a circumstance with much oxygen, therefore others will perish. To be closed off from air is good. Yes, they may survive if one does not open air ventilation. It is extreme violence happening without. It can survive some measure by keeping themselves indoors, out of rain, away from air ventilation. Circulate air within their space. Do not breathe outdoors. Do not be outside. Do not go near the gap. Do not look for family. Stay still within the environment you inhabit. Do not change, because outside is still toxic. It must be some days. Do not exit. Attempt to breathe only the air recirculated. Stay safe from heat, from ash. Do not be next to expire to the exit. You can resume capabilities when there is ample air movement. Wind comes to break free your imprisonment. Travel not far from home. Be indoors. And then they said Turkey, Iran, Syria, Middle East. So that was the full message. So I know, heavy. And even going back through that, just reading it, it's like, oh, that's heavy. So it's been a while since I revisited that, and I know it's heavy stuff, you guys. But the reason I wanted to read that last bit is because we don't really know the extent to, or like how this is going to unfold. The other piece of this is that they also talked about, and I've had confirmation of this from other people, that, and many people have had dreams that show a wave of water that rises up to the sky and stays there, including people from our group. If Jen White is here, and some others have had that dream where a wave of water goes up and stays there. And that is part of this, that there's like a large amount of the Indian Ocean may go up into the atmosphere and stay there. And so something that could have really, that could be in net a good thing. but have some other negative consequences. So what it could be as a good thing is that if we have all of this debris that gets sent up in the atmosphere, but we also have water, the water may clear that. I'm not an expert at this. I'm not a volcano person or a meteorologist, but I do know rain cleans the air, right? Rain cleans the atmosphere. So if you have a lot of water up there, it may help us to clear some of the volcanic debris that could otherwise be floating for a long time. And so we could expect cooler temperatures for sure. So really cold, like I've been thinking like every season goes back a season. So like summer becomes spring, springs becomes fall, fall becomes winter, winter becomes like Canada, like really cold. So, and for those Canadians, I don't even know how do you go beyond Canada? Really cold. So, but then there's also, like so crazy. I've been finding since this came in, I've been finding so many confirmations of this information. Even just the other day, Nanan sent me one from a woman in Thailand who's a very well-known psychic, and she had some premonitions that came true a couple of years ago and became very. So she's very well trusted there. We're not familiar with her here, but she's very well trusted where she's from. And she, at that time, 2 years ago in 2018, she predicted that there would be an earth rift in 2020 on the Malaysian Peninsula. And it involved a bunch of water is what she was. That's what I understand. So I am not the first or the only person getting this message. And many of you have been having dreams. That the way I look at it is that if all of us are like that story that they tell about, like if there are 7 people who are blind and we're all trying to feel our way around an elephant, and we're trying to describe what that elephant is, you're going to get 7 different stories. But if you put them all together, you get a good picture of what an elephant is. And that's kind of what's happening here, is that there are people who have dreams about the water. There are people who have dreams about, being on the beach and seeing the water receded way, way, way out. There, are people who are having, dreams about this earth rift. There's all different angles to this, and people are seeing it in different ways. Erica, who's I believe on the call with us, she has had a couple premonitions of a sonic boom or small earthquake, which is how here in Seattle we might experience this. Is that we would feel it as a light, what would feel like a small earthquake, but would actually be a sonic boom. And then there's another woman who had a specific dream about sonic boom. She saw a placard, and I got this from one of Michael's dreams that he interpreted. And Michael, do you want to say what this one was?
Tell me a bit more of it.
It was the dream about the sonic boom with the Space Needle.
Oh, yes, she didn't really share much of it, just that she knew something was going to impact at the Space Needle, but she's from Seattle. So I think one of the characteristics is everybody seems to see it happening in their own hometown.
Yeah.
She's in China at the moment, but she was told about this a long time ago, and she actually thought it was going to be St. Patrick's Day. So she knew it was around the time of a celebration because that's what they showed her. And then when she got it wrong, because she's had lots of things that have always happened exactly as she thought. And when it didn't happen on St. Patrick's Day, she was like really flummoxed by it. And it's a bit like Anne. She went back and she looked at what they had said, and they hadn't said a specific date, which is like infuriating. But then she had lots of dreams. And at one point in one of her dreams, this guide comes up to her and says, I'm not meant to tell you this, but the date is November 11th. And so she's like, okay, I have my date. But again, she's one of the people I know. Anne's another. There's another guy who has these premonitions too. But they all say that all of them are saying it's already happened. We just don't know it's happened.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's just going to be one rock cracks and then we'll all be aware of it. That it's all within a period of time, but they definitely center it around November 11th. My question is, why don't they just give us a date? But they won't.
I think your point is a good one, though, that you're right. It is like like they even said that it was about pressure on the earth. Like in that first channeling, they were talking about that it's about the pressure. So it's almost like at what point I think you said this earlier, is when will the rock crack? Like who can predict when the rock is going to crack? right? And so I think it's like that it's like, okay, the pressure, and then in the last channel I got, they talked about a fissure, that there's already a fissure. So that's like the rock is starting to crack, but it's not, when will it blow? We can't quite say, but it's going to be in this period. So, so if it happens, if it happens, and there's always the if, because it's, if things are, you can't predict stuff. Like the future is, there's some really fabulous quote. I should have written that down by Yogi Berra about predicting the future. That I can't remember. If whoever can remember that quote, it's hilarious. So, something about the, anyways, so I wanted to also share the, there was, when I was looking at stuff, I was shocked to find out that Leonardo da Vinci also had premonitions, and premonitions that he was actually tormented by all the way to the end of his life. And he was so tormented by these, he did a whole like as a book of sketches and writings that he called the Deluge. And because back then it would have been like enough to get him killed, he wrote it all in code. He wrote it like backwards, so you have to hold it up to a mirror to read it, and in code to be able to hide all of these messages that he got. But let me read you some of the messages from the Deluge. He says, and there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the whole moon became as blood, and the stars of the heavens fell unto the earth. So that's the first one. So to me, that sounds a whole lot like a volcano. Then he says, the highest mountains, although they are far from the seashores, will drive the sea out of its place, which is this idea of somehow with this volcano, it boils off a bunch of the ocean, and that goes up. Remember the waves, the ocean goes up. And from what I understand, we could have literally about 3 to 4% of the Indian Ocean that gets boiled off and is up in the atmosphere. So here is, it says the seashores will drive the sea out of its place. This is like, when was he alive? In the 1400s? It's amazing. All right. So then he also says, and this one is a little, I'm going to leave the last part off because it's a little graphic, but he says I'm going to leave that about the waters dashing against their shores. That's a little graphic. Then he says, so then he talks about, innumerable lives will be extinguished, and innumerable holes will be made over the earth. Seawater will rise above the high peaks of mountains toward the sky and will fall down again onto the dwellings of men. All round may be seen venerable trees uprooted and stripped by the fury of the winds, and swollen rivers overflow and submerge the wide lowlands and their inhabitants. And then he says, the mud will be so deep that men will walk above the trees in their villages. So that was his biggest concern, was the flooding. And it didn't even occur to me when I was talking about this water going up. I thought it would stay up for a long time. Like I don't know how water systems work, but his vision was all about the flood, all about the flooding afterwards, which is a double-edged sword, right? The flooding might clear the atmosphere, which could prevent us having a volcanic winter that could last and cool the planet for a really long time, which is not great for people who like to grow food, right? So the flood might clear the air, but it could also cause real flooding in the near term, and which would again have an impact on how we grow our food, because where we grow food is in those low-lying valleys. So the mud comes down from the mountains, and it pushes and comes out onto the lowlands. So super disruptive. And this was his vision, but to me, it's very like what he's talking about, a volcano coupled with the water going up. I haven't ever heard of that before. So I heard that, I thought, wow, that's, there are no coincidences, right? There's no coincidences. So it's a lot to take in. But the thing that's so important to remember about all of this is why is this all happening? And when I channeled on this earlier, what they were saying was that this part of it is part of the Earth's evolution, that this is the Earth going through its own evolution, that this part, they're like, this part isn't even for you guys. They're like, wait your turn. So your turn is coming. But they said, yeah, this part is that the Earth has to raise its vibration, and that this is part of that process. And that it has happened before, that we just weren't here to witness it. So we think it's like, oh my gosh, not something like this could never happen. They're like, nope, this has happened before, when the Earth evolved previously, but you weren't here to witness it. So I'll share with you what I channeled yesterday on this,
Can we
because I
just
was, what?
can we just add in? Jim said the quote it from Yogi Berra. It's tough to make predictions, especially about the future.
That's the one. Thank you, Jim. Right, exactly. Okay, so here is what I read. Let's see if I can do this. I printed this out in really large font. Let's see if I can do it without my glasses. So what they said earlier, because people have been asking, like, what about 11/11? Because I thought it might happen on 11/11 because of the astrology of 11/11 and the numerological significance. It just seemed so perfectly aligned, and because other people had gotten 11/11, and it was that twofold, like it could be the day of remembrance, but so when it didn't happen, I'm like, okay, well, are we still on? Like, did we escape this, or is it still happening? So they said, be forewarned that we are expecting the blast of explosion to happen. We previously discussed that this will be a happening of extreme debris, destruction, and damage. This experience of great destructive energy will serve to propel your minds and hearts forward. It has the blast energy contained within the earth that will propel its contents outward, upward, to recede in all directions. There are going to be many who are suddenly surprised by this event. They will feel trepidation and care for those who are past, who are understood to be forgotten, but that is not the case. They are substantially benefited by their mass evacuation. They have gained much more than they would have should they have remained upon the earth. They are content with their choice because their options expand before them. They have made this choice at the superconscious level. They have decided that this pathway forward is most beneficial for their own rise in awareness and self-mastery. They are completing their lifetimes, yes, but not eternally, never. They are simply transported to another location, not here, and there will be many on earth who feel their loss and wonder why such an occurrence had to be. They will feel bereft and lost themselves, but this feeling is not placed in reality. It is only locked into a former belief system that is not in keeping with where you will be. You have now gained so much more. To be living free in a state of greater vibrational frequency will elevate you all to be more of who you came to be. Yes, you have this opportunity now before you. It is occurring for your greatest cure, to be held by God in our hearts with love. Our love permeates all. So that was from yesterday, which I love that message. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, so like I said, it sounds like we are still, but everything is still planning on everything happening. In fact, it sounds like it's underway, and that doesn't mean that it's certain to happen, but that it, as far as I'm hearing, that everything is still planning to happen, that nothing has changed. Okay, so do you guys have questions? Are there questions, Michael?
There are plenty of questions.
Plenty of questions.
But I just have to say, you said you love that message. I think a better message would be, we changed our mind, we're attacking Jupiter.
We're just going to make the Earth bigger. Exactly. That would be, I like the nice part at the end, just the end part. Okay. So, all right. So are there any questions that are for non-trance answered, or are they all questions for the angels, or are there other questions we should answer?
Well, there might be some of you already know the answer to because of all the channelings, because you haven't shared everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Summarized. So Molly asks, will it happen / impact our part of the world, presumably here in Seattle?
In terms of what I understand about how it will affect the US is they've said that it'll be cold. They have said multiple times that it will be very cold here in the winter. So we should be prepared for that here. They said very frigid outside. Multiple times they talked about the cold. And they're very happy about the fact that like I think that there's going to be issues around food production. And that's part of the reason we've been talking about, make sure you guys have, even if it just means having rice and beans on hand, just have something on hand. If you don't want to put a lot of energy into it, I totally understand that, because it depends on, people deal with this kind of stuff in different ways, right? Some people find that they find peace by being very prepared, and I really honor that. And other people feel like they find peace by just staying in a high vibration and trusting that they're going to be taken care of. And I honor that as well. And it's really just, we each have different ways of finding our calm. But whichever way you do it, I would highly recommend one of the 25-pound bags of rice will last you about 3 months per person if you have like rice every day. So just a bag of rice, big bag of rice and a big bag of beans, right? And it's cheap, it's easy, and you might get really sick of rice and beans, but at least you have rice and beans, right? It's good. Who doesn't like rice and beans? You might just not want to be near each other. So, but that from what I understand, that's as much as they've said. They haven't said that if there's going to be, and the only reason I really wanted to read that part about the gas is because I'm not clear if we are going to know or feel or experience that gas here, if that gas will travel around the world. And if it does, we need to be really aware of that and to make sure that we're keep an eye on that. Because those instructions may have been, I don't know if those instructions about staying indoors were for us or were for other parts of the world. I don't know. But we can ask that.
Okay, well, I'm going to butcher this name, but it's like Su Chen.
Oh, that's
Apologies
not
for butchering. Will anyone in China be affected? And then is it preventable there? But that a few people have asked that. So Jackie also asked it, but she must have a brother who's an astrophysicist or something. But if I try read through it, it ultimately boils down to, is it preventable?
Okay. All right. Yeah. I better go into trance because I don't know about each of the different specific regions of the world, and we'll see what the angels say. But my understanding is it's not preventable anywhere. But I do know they did say that the biggest thing they said was that the cloud is going to be going the specific direction was Turkey, Iran, Syria, and Middle East. And if you look on a map, those places are in sequence from each other. From the Indian Ocean, they go up in a sequence. And so what makes that even more credible from my standpoint is I'm not that good at geography. So so the idea that they named those states in order, in sequence, coming up from the Indian Ocean gave me more trust in that's right now, that's where they forecast the wind. So it really depends on which way the wind blows with this kind of stuff, right? Volcano goes off and where does the debris get carried? And it sounds like that's the direction it's going right now, is up in that direction, which would mean that China wouldn't get it. Yeah, so it would go the other way. Anything else that looks like it's potentially answerable?
Yeah. So Jackie is saying it's more about the flares. Is there something that light workers can do to deflect its intensity?
Oh, the solar flares?
Yeah.
Interestingly, I actually don't think it's in our interest to try to work like this. All this is being orchestrated and held by the angels, and I don't think it's in our interest to try to work against it. I think that one of the cool things they have said about the solar flares, and they in my channels they call it a period of a blackout period, but they have also said that it's going to open all of our chakras, and that the blast itself, the solar flare itself, is spiritual energy that we're going to be receiving. And yes, it fries electrical equipment, but that's also what they've said, is that that's also part of the plan, that it creates quiet overhead. And they talked about that. They said that it quiets all of the transmissions and the cables and stuff like that. And they said it'll give us this period of quiet. And what they want us to do, the way that they want us to cope with this period of blackout, is they want us to go inside of ourselves, to retreat inwards, to use this quiet, to be in our own energy, just like they wanted us to use the COVID to be in our own energy, to get to know ourselves better, right? To be more clear about who we are when we're not being influenced by all the other energies outside. So now we've gotten clear on who we are. Now they want us to use this blackout period when there's no overhead transmissions, where we will have a much better ability to connect. So I think it's all very deliberate, but they have said that the blast, that the solar flare or this blackout period will like literally open up all our chakras and give us a new kind of awareness. So it's instrumental in our awakening. So yeah, so I think we just want to like be careful not to work against it, but and that's the hard part. It's like sort of like, oh, you want to protect certain people, or I want to, like, I really had to go through it when it came to wanting to save everybody, like wanting everybody to be okay. As a matter of fact, there was a family living in my building, And the angels kept saying, you cannot save everybody. They said this, and they were showing me, my dreams were showing me that I had to release this because it was starting to give me health problems. That they were saying that, no, and they kept saying that they are making this choice at that this is for their highest and best good. And you have to let everybody to have their experience, even a bad experience. You have to let them have that. And you can't intervene and make it what you want it to be. And there was this, and I was like, okay. I was just really having a hard time with it, particularly because there was this one family in my building that had 2 young children. They were my next door neighbors. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't. And I was like, okay, I'm sitting there. How am I going to tell them? How am I going to protect them? I was literally like going to go buy them diapers and buy them food and just have it. And then like leave it at their doorstep. You know what I mean? I was like, how am I going to live with this? And I was walking outside and I ran into him and she's like, we're moving to Florida. So there they go. So the angels took care of it in the end. They were like, okay, you can't handle that. We're going to remove the problem. So, but anyways, I mean, that's the point, is that I know all of us, you guys all have your healing hearts, and so do I. And we want to help, and we want to prevent people from struggling and from suffering. And that's why they keep saying the solution for us is to go within, go back in. You are creating your own experience, and your experience is within your 4 walls, within your own mind. They said it could be chaos without. Within, you are at peace. And within, that's where they say you want to go inside. You want to know yourself, and you want to take advantage of this incredible clear space to connect and strengthen your connection. And that's what they want us to do. So does that make sense? And that's one of the hardest parts of this whole message for me. Anyways, I don't know about for you guys. It's definitely the hardest part of the message for me. But I understand it. I do understand it. It's just hard to let go of it. Was there anything else before we?
Yep. Jesse says, should we all buy gas masks?
Gas masks. You know what? I did not get that. I didn't get gas masks. They never told me to do anything like that. They talked about the gas, but they didn't tell me to get gas masks. I think if we do have problems over here, like maybe acid rain, or the main thing to look out is the quality of your water, because that's the kind of thing that can be impacted. Is that if the rain comes down, it can make the water not drinkable. So you might want to get a water quality test. They're like $25 on Amazon. You want one of the ones that don't have to be sent to a lab. And you just dip these little sticks in it, and it's like, is the water safe? And then just get you even just an inexpensive, like a Brita would do the trick in terms of clearing out that kind of stuff. And a Brita and boiling, and you can drink that. You could take pond water, stick it through a Brita and boil it, and then you can drink it. Or a life straw. If you don't want to go to that, they sell these life straws. You can get a pack of 4 of them or something. I'm not sure where Costco, people were talking about that, but these life straws, you literally just stick it in the water, and the life straw does the filtering, and you can drink right through this funky life straw. But so water is something to be cognizant of. But yeah, I don't.
Speaking of gas masks,
yeah.
Your family neighbors might have left because you've been dehydrating broccoli for months. So,
or all the beans, could be the beans too. I don't know, but no, I'm wishing them well, and I'm trusting they are going to be with family. So I'm trusting that's the right place for them to be. So that's really good. So hopefully they will be safe and cared for there. But in terms of, see anything else coming up about that? There's more information about what?
I thought you were asking, was there another question?
Yeah, I was going to add about, in terms of which areas in the U.S., there's more information about with this blackout, the solar flare, but we really don't know when the solar flare is going to happen. All they said about that was that it would happen after the was it the phase of our abundance, after the cycle of abundance, which could mean the solstice. So it could be 12/21, but they can't give me dates, because I think it pulls me out of channeling. I think it pulls me into my left brain. And I think it's also really hard for them to give dates. But on the solar flare, I do know that I found a great article about it that talks about, and I posted a video on my YouTube channel about this, talking about which parts of the country are most likely to feel the effects of the solar flare. And the East Coast, particularly the area between Washington, D.C. and New York, because of the fact they have sort of the trifecta of there's ground conductivity, which turns out to be a huge deal, is like, what are the minerals and stuff in the earth around you? So the East Coast has that. They also have aging infrastructure. So there's not as many resistors in their infrastructure to tamp down something like this. And then being close to water. Salt water is conductive. Fresh water, not. Salt water, yes. And so the coasts are more likely, but where we are in the Northwest, I think our ground is less conductive here. So we are much less at risk. But that specific area, which is, so in the US, the areas that are most susceptible are New York to DC to New York, the Florida and along the Gulf Coast, as well as the Midwest is the areas that are most at risk. But it shows sort of possible effects, pretty much the whole country is there's some chance of effect. And then in Canada, because I only got the magnetism, that the show the ground conductivity map, I could only find that for North America. So I apologize to all of you who are from other places around the world. But Canada is highly conductive and close to the poles, which means it's like on the map, it's like dark purple, like yes, Canada, but Canada got hit by something like this before. So they invested a bunch of money in their infrastructure. So they have all of these resistors in this, so they may be okay. But anyways, anything else before we?
Yeah, April asks, will the super volcano or earth rift cause years worth of starvation? And she's specifically asking for Earth.
For Earth, okay.
Yep. That's what she's written.
Yeah, and we could, you know what, they haven't given me I do know that that learning to cultivate our own food is a good thing. That there will be issues with like there's going to be more an emphasis on getting your food locally. So I mean, we could ask more specific. That might be one we want to ask for a little bit more information on when I'm in trance, to dive into that a little bit more deeply. But I'm thinking, just make it through this bad part, and then we'll figure it out from there. Anything else before?
Probably not. All the other ones seem like there's lots of comments about YouTube videos and things like that that are good if you want to get into the chat and read those.
Oh,
but
great.
The rest are probably for you in trance.
Okay. All right. So if you guys would get grounded with me, let's all just get grounded together. And then I will go up, and then feel free to add any more comments. And thank you, Michael, for being our moderator. And I'm going to go ahead and just ground us. So if you guys would all please go ahead and drop down from your tailbone. And I will ask the angels may want to give everybody a little healing before they get started. So let's make sure you ground in case they do that. From your tailbone, go ahead and drop down a nice thick root or a vine that goes down through the floor, then down through the building that you're in, down to the ground, and then feel that root burrowing into the earth, and feel it starting to dig its way down through the earth, through the layers of the earth. And as it goes deeper, burrowing further, deeper and deeper, dark and deep, through the rich soil, down it goes, deeper into the earth, all the way down to the very, very center. And there you may see Mother Earth there, waiting to receive your grounding root, helping you to pull that down toward the center of the earth, helping to tether and attach your grounding root to the very center of the earth. And as it does, feel that root become taut. And feel that tautness coming all the way up your spine. So now you're aware that you're strongly rooted into the earth. And then down from the bottom of each foot, drop down another root that goes down through the floor and down through the building that you're in, and down into the earth. And then just burrow those roots down just about 8 feet. And there, feel them sprout wide in all directions like the roots of a tree, securing you from side to side. So now you're strongly rooted and supported in all directions. All right, just breathe deeply while I go ahead and connect. We are here. Hello, welcome. We're delighted to spend this time together again. We have begun our process within each of you. Now we offer a chance to unwind, to relax, to feel our presence more fully, to be held in our energy so that we may facilitate your healing. Be calm and feel our vibration. We are entering into your field. We are within each of your perimeter. Sense, be aware, we have begun a process of clearing your field of all things perturbing. Yes, you have thoughts, feelings, senses. You are concerned about that which has been read. You are now feeling the release of toxins flowing past shins, ankles, feet, down deep through the grounding cord. Yes, you have released much anxiety. We are filling your mind with thoughts of peace. Relax and feel our love as it penetrates your mind. We are filling your heart with golden light. You have only to receive. Do not feel you must effort. No, only relax and be held by our love. We surround each of you in this moment. You have no need to feel disconcerted. Do not fret or sense more than comes at your own natural observation. It is, however, it is perceived by you. This is accurate. You have received our love and tender reflection. We are entering to be closer so that we may filter your vibration of all things that may increase your own reaction to the trauma of these events. We are releasing past experience that may react when you sense or experience these events. Yes, to allow you to be fully present without the draw of your historic experience. This will permit you to feel your full self rather than being influenced by past deaths and disaster through which you have existed. We are clearing the emotion of these catastrophes from your field. We are remaining the memory of these experiences so that you retain the full capture of your senses and your memories. We are nearly complete. Breathe deeply. Be at peace, rest, relax. We hold you now. Breathe. Do not fret. Breathe. Feel our oneness as we are permeating your vibration. Be at peace. We have cleared your vibration. You are healed of many disturbances. Feel the clarity of your mind. Sense the warmth of your soul. We are familiar now. We have entrained your mind, heart, soul to ours so that we may continue this healing forthwith. You will be held by us with love and care. Do not fear. We are only here at your service to be helping you through this difficult transition. We are grateful for your trust and compatibility with our intention. Thank you. Relax. We have completed this portion of our stay. We are ready for your questions.
Okay. From April, will the supervolcano cause years worth of starvation?
Dear April, hello. We are delighted to have your vibration among us. We are, hello. You have visited many times. We are celebrating your ascension. We have listened to your request. There will be struggle with procuring adequate nutrition. Yes, there will be more difficulty in some regions where there are fewer resources. You have nothing to concern yourself. You have already procured what you need. There are many who will struggle. Do not worry. This is an experience and must be allowed. All are held, all are protected by us. Thank you.
Jeffrey asks, how can we best help after this happens?
You may assist with your own elevation. Go within as we requested. Do not experience the trauma of this event firsthand. You will rise when we release the energies that will raise your mind, body, and soul. You will feel differently. It will become brand new. You will find you have not the same concerns you have now. This is part of our expectation of how you will transcend this calamity. You will be of service to many by your healing vibration. Yes, awakened already, you are able to guide those who find themselves unsure of what occurred, why they are having the resonance shift within them, why they experience apparitions such as us. You will be there to help, explain, show, be of peace. You can set the tenor of their ascension. Thank you.
Mary asks, will prayer, meditation, and positive intentions or visualizations now do anything to help mitigate the devastation?
We ask that you do not interfere with our carefully planned events. You are of great power. You may disrupt the ascension. This is of penultimate importance. Please do not interfere with our careful plans. We ask that you support our efforts by your intuitive demand for peace within and assistance to all. We are holding the vibration of each soul, and you may assist with that intent to ask that each soul be remembered and loved. This will assist us greatly. But do not ask to spare anyone, however, because this may interfere with their true desire. And we ask that you not interfere with their destiny. Thank you.
Adrian asks, will the Philippines be hit by the cataclysmic event?
You have received many disturbing thoughts. We are clearing your heart of fear. You have already received some disturbance where you are, and we are sorry that you have been witnessing this upsetting event. You are now finding yourself feeling untethered and concerned. Do not fear. You are protected. We have watched over you day and night. You are a favorite. We love you. We hold you. Do not fret. Thank you.
Lourdes asks, is it okay to visualize our own home protected by a shield?
You are thinking that there will be more effect on your residence than we plan. You may protect your belongings with devices as you choose. You may protect your loved ones with your energy by proximity. You may envelop the souls of your dear so that they are held in our energy as well. You may find all of these of service. There is not the need to expend your energy in your greater protection because you are held. We are evacuating any souls that need to remain within this period of third dimension, and you are resting here. We will ensure your safety. Do not fear. Thank you.
Sue Chen asks, is our sun getting updated to a white dwarf sun? Why is it so much whiter? And is it a higher than an M-class solar flare that will cause the supervolcano?
No, your solar sun changes not. This is not accurate. You are receiving some falsehoods. This is okay, but do not be distracted by their vibration of fear. They have felt some need to permeate the energies of others with this history that may not occur. We are accurately perceiving their intent, which is not of destruction. Do not fear. They are harmless. It is not activated by solar energies. No, this is not how it will evoke the pressure received to instigate the volcano. Thank you.
And Jana asks, should I talk about these events with my family in India and ask them to store food?
You are rightly concerned for their welfare. We ask you to warn, yes, warn them. This is necessary. Thank you for your request. We appreciate your bravery in offering such a service. You are carrying much weight around this question, and we have to inform you that we will hold every member of your family in our love. Do not fear, for they are protected by our stable fortitude. They have already perceived some degree through their own awareness, but do not comprehend why they feel these sensations. So when you share your news, they may not be so disrupted as you would perceive. Thank you.
Gail asks, is a nuclear event possible?
No, this is not what we perceive. Thank you.
Looking for more questions. Jeffrey asks, what can you tell us about our work, the work we will do after the shift?
This question we have received.
Yeah.
Is there another?
Lourdes asks, how will Mexico be affected?
Mexico is under the line through which we will filter the power of the vibration that emanates from the solar flare. this will impact Mexico some, but not as fully as may be anticipated in North America. You have some concern about their food stores. This is valid. Be prepared for any eventuality because there are not the same resources widely available there for restoration of damages. Therefore, you must each individual be prepared more fully for their own safety. We ask that you communicate to those you care for, to ask them to be prepared, but not overly so, because they must not emanate fear, and your concern for them vibrates a tenor which will infect their energy with concern. Therefore, we ask email only, not call, and tell your husband to write it because he has the ability to remain more grounded when communicating this information for their benefit. Once written, you may send the note. It is your concern that must be filtered so that they retain their vibrance, which has the ability to protect and emanate outwards to infect others. We ask this. Thank you.
So James asks, I hear you say, do not fear, but I am terrified by these messages. What is the path to not living in fear, but still responding to the potential events?
Do not be aware of more than you need. Do not watch the news. Terror exists, and we are hesitant to enable your reception of information not needed for your own benefit. We ask your filter to engage so that you may limit exposure to things not needed for your own safety. We ask you remain centered, grounded within your own being, and remember you are of light. You have heard many things, and this is difficult to push from your conscious awareness. We are aware of this. However, you may cycle through layers of your own experience as you process this feeling. Be centered and allow the fear to rise within you. Experience that which you resist. This experience is valid and is not of concern. Allow this rising to occur in your heart. Be present with the knowledge of this fear. Love yourself through the experience of it. Fear is a natural expression of human trauma. We ask that you experience your fear calmly in the safety of your own home and allow the expression of that as you permit that fear to pass from you. Allow it to rise within your breast and breathe. Do not fuel the fear with your traumatic thought. Do not exacerbate what you believe may occur. Simply be sensitive to the experience of fear. Love your fear. Love yourself. Do not fight fear. Love your way through it and be centered in yourself. Express this fear through your voice. Express through tears, through cry, out. Do not resist this experience. You will pass this emotion and find yourself balanced anew and ready to be of service to another. This is how we would suggest you compensate for feeling emotions which you resist. Thank you.
Michelle asks, can we expect dark negative influences to prey upon the fear of humanity after such a cataclysm? Or will there be obvious positive and uplifting messages afterwards?
Yes, both may occur. We have orchestrated this event in such a way as to permeate your being with many heightened vibrations. However, many will drop into desperation during the period of their dropping. We are finding them lowering their vibration because of desperation. Hibernation exudes from their being. They shut down. They are depressed. They lose hope. They must be assisted by us through this process, but we are there. We help. We solve. Not you. Do not fear. You are not to be taxed by this experience. This is not your work. We will care for each soul. Not one will be lost. Not one forgotten. No one is left. We are careful. We value each soul more than you understand. We have such focused attention on each person to elevate their experience, and this must be done in ways not comprehensible to many humans. This is not always within your conscious sense of perfection. This is done in ways necessary for their own pattern of life. And we ask your faith and trust in our discernment of their requirements so that we can gift each soul the light which they crave. We will usher all into the light. This will transpire differently for each, depending on the pathway that leads them most directly towards that source. You have found your path naturally. This has delighted all of us. We see your light. We are celebrating your arrival. However, not all have the ability to access this pathway forward. They are struggling under the weight of much grief and self-loathing. They have obstacles insurmountable at their own hand. We must assist in ways beyond that which you have required. They are needing much greater influence and evocation in order to arrive where they may be. We are careful to orchestrate the pathway of each and every one. We love you all equally. There is no bad or good. You are all children of light, souls of God. We are respectful in your presence. We are celebrating your beings. We are devout and loyal to your superior light. Yes, you have aspects of God within which we love endlessly. You are a source of our joy. We are attracted to your very being. You may not take a step without our supervision. We are surrounding you at all times, watching, waiting, anticipating your arrival. We are happy to see you have received our attention and love. We thank you for your patience and gift you with our constant devotion. Thank you.
From Kerry, what is your recommendation for immediate answers when we don't know what to do next or where we are supposed to be?
You will find you cannot mistake your path, for there are few errors you can make. You have the light within your heart. You will create that which emanates from within. This is how you will ensure your safe passage, because your reality becomes that which you hold inside. We are supervising at all times, directing, ensuring no missteps, but you are the creator. We may only support your emanations. You have nothing to fear. You are creating in the light. Thank you.
April asks, will the lower temperatures last for many years or just one?
We are unable to respond to this question. It has temporal determinations. We are unable to accurately reflect the duration of this seismic result. We have discussed the potent result of that which occurs, but we cannot accurately measure the distance through which this will pass in your framework of time. It has the possibility to be many, but we cannot ensure this accuracy. However, do not be concerned with your health or vibration. We are certain you will find this new dimension to which you are called will be of your liking. It has many reasons to inspire your love. Thank you.
Okay, so I think this is the last question that's about the event from Su Chen. My family in Northeast China is not on this path of awakening yet. They may think I am crazy. Should I warn them anyway?
You have asked a difficult question. We have much compassion for your fear, for your family and loved ones. We are holding your heart tenderly in our arms to heal the pain you feel at this thought. You have our love on all sides. We ask your tears to dry. We are holding you near. We have thought that you might communicate the need to receive provisions for them to be held in the event of some other occurrence, not that which you perceive to be real. This may instill in them a desire to comply. You may create a reason that has valid effect. They will listen to you. We have attuned their near held beliefs to hold your words with respect. You will heal their energy with this request. We ask that you attempt and see if they are receptive. Thank you.
We're at time, Anne.
We thank you. We have enjoyed this experience of your vibrations. You are all called to be more of yourselves through this experience, and we have loved being near to so many light and beautiful souls. You are courageous volunteers who have arrived here in this important time to be of service to all humanity, and we are beyond effusive in our love and care for each. We wish to be increasingly of service to you all. Merely request, ask, speak, to us. We have constant attention to your words. Simply resonate your words with our name, and we are allowed to assist. Simply call, ask, however you choose to name us. We are there. We are ready. We love each of you so dearly. We are in service of you all and have waited for the opportunity to heal and help, but not all have requested, and we may not assist without your explicit request. You have full control of your experience, and we may only assist once you have permitted. We will be present and loving always, but may only intervene with your blessing. We have given you each our love through this process and wish to continue that vibrational fluency together if you will receive our ongoing relationship. Thank you so much. We ask that you remain true to your own self. We love you. We see you. We thank you. Goodbye. Hey. Hey, you guys. Okay. How was that? Did everybody get your questions answered? Did your answers make sense? Yeah, everybody got good answers. Any other questions that came up? Any questions for me?
No. I mean, there's questions about other things and Bible verses and Yogananda and stuff, but I didn't ask them.
Okay.
But you can find them in the chat.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure if can I see the chat after this is done?
Yeah, it saves with the recording.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. All right, you guys. So I think you get the vibe from the angels as they're saying, hey, this is all being held by them. Like this whole thing, like there are like, if you wonder like how many angels are there, if you ever worry like, oh, I shouldn't trouble the angels because my problem is like this big and I don't want to bother them. Like there are way more angels than there are people. And they're like waiting. They're like literally like they're like right around you right now. Like they follow behind you, like holding your head. You know, they're there and they just want you to speak to them and to ask them. And you can even just, I mean, even if you just say like, you know, hey guys, like please clear my room, or please, you know, they're like, yes. Like there's your guardian angel who's there with you all the time. And then there's also like unemployed angels who are kind of around and they want something to do. So like, yes, please speak to them and please have them, you know, however you wish, and make sure it's always, you know, and you guys will always make sure that it's of you know, positive and beautiful intent, right? But they really, really want to be part of, you know, they want to help. They can't make decisions for us. That's a big thing, is they cannot make decisions. So if you go like, I don't know what to do, tell me what to do, they're going to be like, can't help, because that's how we create, and we are the creators. So we have to make the choice. But once you choose, it's like then they can kind of line up all the dominoes in that direction, right? So you just got to make the choice and commit to the choice, and then they can help you. So, but in terms of how all of this is going to unfold, like there's no question. There's things about this that are really hard. They're telling us, like, make sure, like, when it gets crazy outside, come back in, be inside yourself, connect upwards, use this time to strengthen your connection. That and things are going to be amazing when we get there. And I'm not totally clear, like, exactly how long it's going to take, but it's not like it's going to be horrible and then great. It's like it's going to be horrible and a little good, and then less bad and a little more good, right? It's going to get better and better. And this thing about blasting open our chakras, that I'm excited for, because one of the things that they've said is that we will develop like humans will develop an emotional telepathy, where we will be able, and all of you guys are probably empathic anyways, but what if everybody was empathic, right? What if everyone had emotional telepathy? And they said one of the things that will do is create like negotiations will go much more smoothly. So like countries that have been at war forever, all of a sudden they will understand each other's perspectives, and that negotiations will go more smoothly. And they said this will bring peace. So the ways in which the world will change, I think it's hard for us to predict, but once it happens, it's going to be like astrology, where you can look backwards and be like, see that? Like, they talked about that, and there it is. There's it happening. So, as the Earth rift happens, however that looks and however that takes shape, if that takes shape, let's hold it in the light. And I think they said, what did they say that they want us to, sometimes it's hard for me to retain what they say. They said, I think they want us to hold the light for each soul, or something like that. Wasn't that right? That they want us to focus on the individual souls and hold each soul in the light. But that's how we can assist. I think that's what they said. I'll have the recording of this, and I'll make sure I'll post it both. I'll put it on YouTube, and I'll put it in the Spirit Means Business group, so you guys all have it. And I'll send it out to the Wisdom Soup list as well. So if you are on the Wisdom Soup list, you'll receive it, the email list. But yeah, so use it as a time to get connected. Use it as a time to understand your own energy better. Know that you are called, but don't feel that as like, oh my gosh, I have to put on my Rambo gear and like go do this. It's more like be the light, right? Be the light and be of service, and you will be called into action. You will see how you are of service. It will happen. And you can't, I did remember they said that you can't make a wrong decision, that follow your instincts, your intuition, and know that what you are creating is coming from within you, right? And that you are creating from light. So I hope this has been helpful, you guys. I know it's a lot to think about. I'll let you know as I get information from them, I will share it. They've been talking about other stuff with me lately. So I think we're through with their gloom and doom. Like, I don't think there's any more events coming. I think that's all of them. So that's good news, right? I don't think there's like a fourth event. I think that's like, it's just 3. So that's good news. But as I hear more details, I will share them with you. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been so awesome to spend the time with you. I think I'm going to go collapse and eat some chocolate covered mangoes. So have a great evening, you guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you very soon. All right. Bye, you guys. Thank you, Michael, very much. Thank you so much for moderating.